You may remember last year, California voters passed Prop 28, and it provides more money for arts and music education in public schools. Former LAUSD Superintendent Austin Beutner authored the proposition, and he's joining us live in studio to talk about what will come. Now, I think a lot of people wondering right off the bat, if they don't remember, what is Prop 28?
So Prop 28 addresses an issue, which is barely 1 in 5 public schools in California had a full-time arts or music teacher. This will provide the funding for every school in the state of California, all 6 million kids, preschool to 12th grade, to participate in arts and music at school.
This was a huge initiative to get passed.
Seismic. I mean, truly seismic. It'll be about $1 billion a year, each and every year, forever. It's the largest investment in arts and music in our nation's history.
How were you able to do this and not raise taxes?
Well, fortunately, the state of California has a big budget. And what we did was convince 1 million voters to sign a signature, not clicks, to actually put their wet signature on a piece of paper. And we took it to voters. 65% of people approved a ballot initiative. That's the largest margin of support ever in an education initiative around this state. And 65 may not sound like an overwhelming support, but remember, in ballot initiatives, 25% of people vote against chocolate ice cream. So we got 65% of 75% of people support it. And I think everybody's got a story about arts and music and the role it plays in their lives.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I know I do, and I know you have a personal connection to this.
Yeah, for me, my family moved a bunch when I was a kid. I wound up at a new school in the middle of 5th grade, shy kid, worried about where I was going to have lunch. Fortunately, I was invited to a music class. Cello became bass, bass became guitar. With that, a sense of agency. I could play in front of thousands of people before I could speak in front of tens of people. But it started with that sense of belonging. And I think it's universal. Everybody's got a story about how arts and music plays a role in their lives, and it's an essential piece of a good education.
So I do have to ask, of course, this legislation was passed back in November. You're a former superintendent, so it's been months. Can you tell us what is making news now? Why do we have you here today?
Because it starts with the coming school year. And one of the neat things about this is each of the 10,000 public schools in the state of California have an opportunity to decide what program best serves the needs of the kids in their school, in their community.
So they're starting to plan now for next year.
They're starting to plan now for next year. And we're going to need to bring about 15,000 arts educators into our public schools. 15,000, just a number to give you some sense. That's more arts educators than will be hired in the whole rest of the country. Now, fortunately, we've got a wonderful creative community in California. This isn't Montana. We can bring those TikTokers from Montana here. And we can put arts, music, talented educators in our public schools to help benefit kids here.
I do think some people are looking at that going, that's a big initiative to tackle, but you do have something on Monday to kick this whole thing off. That's another part of this.
Yeah, so we're kicking off, how do we help schools? Because schools have to make a good choice about the program they want. They have to find that arts educator. So we're going to get together, really the coalition, bring the band back together to help get this passed, to get the word out, to make sure schools have what they need. So come the start of the new school year, every child has a chance to participate in arts and music at school.
Bring the band back together in more ways than one.
Exactly, pun intended.
I like that. You really have to give props, though, to the entertainment industry, too. You weren't able to do this without a lot of big names supporting you.
Well, the day we announced this, will.i.am, Dr. Dre, Issa Rae, Jimmy Iovine, Chris Meledandri from Illumination, on and on and on, stepped up with us and said, this matters. We're going to make this happen. And by the time we finished, we had Quincy Jones and Barbra Streisand and Katy Perry and a whole mess of people in between, because they can speak authentically about this. It's made a difference in their lives, and they want to bring that difference to our public schools, which is fantastic.
Yeah, and that's, underserved communities, I think especially this is so important to get kids involved. So
these are schools that wouldn't have had access, and we're providing twice as much money to those schools to make sure they're going to just double down on the opportunity for kids.
All right, well, I hope the planning goes well, the hiring goes well, and we get this thing started. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it.